What features would you look for in your ideal offshore cruising yacht? A deep, protected cockpit would be top my list. We're on board new Discovery 58, sailing out past the Needles, en route to Jersey. Sort of passage style test to see why this Southampton-based company includes a lot of the features it does on their offshore cruising yachts.
Before heading offshore, we conducted a photo shoot in the Western Solent, which doubled as a useful opportunity to assess the Discovery sailing performance on different angles and using both head sails. But the benefits of this type of boat are only really realised once you leave the coastline behind.
Adjusting to life at heel. We're mid-channel, just going through the shipping channels actually. Got pasties in the oven. Just put the brew on. Settling in for night watch time. Morning. It's 3 AM, I'm local time, just coming off watch. Got a couple of hours off now. We've just come through the ordinary race around Cap de la Hague, making steady progress to Jersey. It's we're one reef in, still blowing southwesterly, and yeah, come down here to check the navigation before handing over. It's a pretty comfortable spot to do so. It's a USP of Discovery to have this raised saloon chart table area here, so you've got full viz from this area. But there is one more place that's more comfortable that I'm looking forward to going now. And that's the midships Coleman cabin, especially on this tack.
With dawn came landfall and a welcoming escort into Jersey in the form of a dolphin.
So we just arrived in St Helier Marina and docked up next to the original Discovery 55, which launched 15 years ago. This is the first of the Mark II version, and you can see just in the size volume alone, I mean the 58 is only 3 feet longer, but she's 20% bigger in terms of volume. But what they do share is something I think most owners will be looking for, and first and foremost, and that's hull shape. They've got a traditional rake stem, deep V underbody, heavy displacement, nice sweeping rocker line. All of that helps towards giving the sort of gentle motion that we experienced on the crossing last night. And it looks after your crew and is the real sort of credit to the design. Well, let's take a look around the rest of the features now. So the 58, the first 58 we're on is a bit different in that it's got slab reefing. Most Discovery owners would go for this setup on the 55 here, which is in mast, and obviously a self-tacking jib and twin poles so that they can run properly downwind when cruising. Set the two head sails out on the twin poles. It's a really good setup for long distance cruising. Okay, some prime cruising features on deck. Great sail locker with cleats for tying lines. It's lit. There's loads of depth for putting an A sail down there. Obviously a little capstan here for tying up with, but see the size of the cleats and the fair leads. Good sized chain locker with a freshwater washdown, double anchor roller, and the twin head sails, which are really effective for changing gear going upwind or offwind. Good wide secure side decks to walk along with grab rails, and loads of depth in here. You've got 3 gas bottles in there, same again with a bosun's locker in front, so plenty of stowage on deck. This new 58, you can have single helm or twin helm options, and everything really is controlled from here. You've got the traveller on a button, main sheet as well, self-tack and jib sheet control, and then the 2 primary winches are powered as well, and that's all comes as standard. But my favourite area is actually to sit up here. Because when it was pretty cold at night on passage, see the depth and the protection you get in here, snuggle in here, and it felt pretty good. And you've still got the same controls. You've still got the main, the traveller, and the sheet controls here, and you can peer down to the chart table and have a look at the plotter as well. It's a nice spot. So a prime benefit of the interior setup of a raised saloon like this 58, and something Discovery have really concentrated on, is making everything you need when you're offshore sailing to be handy, without having to go on too many different levels. So just 3 shallow steps from the cockpit, and you're into the raised saloon, or you're into the chart table, where you can stand and watch quite easily because there's good views from. And the things you need in the galley, from the fridge, freezer and the bin and sinks, are the closest parts. They're the furthest forward. Coming into the galley, I think there's a few features in here cruising folk will appreciate. Massive fridge for starters. The fridge and freezer are keel cooled, you know, domestic size. And that freezer goes right outboard as well. These good fiddles to the work surfaces, deep sinks, drainage board, the ability to pass cups of tea, gin and tonics, that sort of thing, out through into the hatch here, through into the cockpit. There's loads of light and headroom in here, but it's also quite narrow, so at sea you feel quite comfortable and braced here cooking and preparing food, which is a nice feature. And then coming aft, obviously massive benefit of a centre cockpit boat is the ensuite aft cabin that it creates. And then you've got the forward accommodation, guest accommodation I guess, in a midship Pullman cabin, comfortable on passage or for the family, junior crew, and a double cabin up in the bows. And there's also a generous day heads and separate shower in here. You'll notice this this light finish on the timber. It's a maple, which isn't standard, but I guess there isn't really a standard. They have a very good joinery team at Discovery, and you can sort of have what sort of finish of wood that you want, and it's very good quality as well. Welcome to the technical room, as Discovery call it. The area behind the nav station is quite customisable. You can have a pilot berth in here, which would be a good solution, I think. These guys have got hooks up above for hanging wet weather gear, washing machine and storage here. Very neat installation of the switchboard. And one of the best benefits of a centre cockpit design is you get a huge engine room under the cockpit. And you may not have noticed, but the engine is actually running. It's remarkably quiet. Nice. It's good to see clear inspection hatches on the top of the tanks. Real benefit of the raised saloon again is having all of the tanks under the saloon. So all the fuel, water tanks and batteries, all the heavy stuff is contained centrally in the middle of the boat to reduce pitching as much as possible.
So what would you look for in your ideal cruising yacht? At this end of the market, semi-custom luxury end, there's plenty of choice. You can pretty much have what you want. This Discovery might not be for everyone. Indeed, they've changed the aesthetic from the 57 launched 2 years ago to make it appeal to more and given her a better layout inside. But what I take home from this crossing and spending a good period of time aboard sailing her is something Discovery set out to do, which is to make the yacht comfortable for a couple when they're going offshore, so that they feel rested on passage and when they get there. And I think she achieves that really well.